Greetings and salutations, Internet. This is WotC, and here we are with another video directly to you through the Internet. This is the D&D Monster cards for Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. This deck has 109 durable laminated cards from the range of rare and deadly monsters with game statistics on one side and evocative art on the other side. Perfect tool for dungeon masters manage and reference their menagerie during play. This is actually produced by Gale Force 9, with officially leased by Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro. In this delightful deck, I'm doing something slightly different with my voice just because people sometimes say my voice is terrible. So I'm going to ham it up! Alrighty? Inside this box, there's an extra box which contains nothing. It contains nothing. It's just a placeholder. In the box, with the box that contains nothing, you have two decks. If you notice that one deck is bigger than the other, there's a reason for that. There is the small deck, which is mostly containing creatures that have simple stat blocks. They don't have a whole lot of crazy tricks. This is just like your typical monster that runs up, dives out of cover, attacks your party kind of creature. No crazy spell casting, stuff like that. This is a choker. Typically on these cards, in the first few sets, you would typically see the artist's name down here. However, in these later sets, there's no artist's name there. On the back side of the card, you have the name of the monster up on top. You have right here, just between the name of the monster and the actual stat block, you'll have the type of creature, whether it's an aberration or a beast or a plant or a mythical beast or undead, that stuff. Down below that, there's the standard stat block. Right below that is your standard set of weaknesses, vulnerabilities, resistances, immunities, as well as the various skills it has, like proficiency in stealth, proficiency in perception, so forth. And then the next section down is all its actions. And at the very bottom in this red section is the challenge rating, as well as the experience points earned. Right below that will be, say, what book it is in and what page. Sometimes the page number is wrong, and it's only like a few pages off. And over here is the copyright with the D&D ampersand, or Dungeons and Dragons ampersand. So that's the very first monster in the tiny pack. The second one is Bronze Scout, Deathlook, Armament, Abyssal Watcher. This is actually one of those things that occasionally comes up in these decks, is that you'll have a card that doesn't have any actual original artwork for them. You'll just have this symbol on it. This is generally a letdown, as when you have artwork on it, you can either A, show your players the artwork, or B, you can look at the artwork and use what you see to vaguely describe the creature in which your players are looking at. That way they don't have 100% in understanding what it is exactly at that moment. But once they do know what it is, if they successfully make a religion check or a nature or arcana check, then you could actually show them the artwork on the card. Got a Duro Savant. Ooh, a Fat Boy. I just call them Fat Boys. Another case of no artwork. Another case of no artwork. It's always a letdown when there's no artwork on the cards. Air Elemental Myrmidon, Earth Elemental Myrmidon, Fire Elemental Myrmidon, Water Elemental Myrmidon. Basically, elite warriors that are all roughly in that challenge rating 7 territory. A GIF. We are going to get player race stats for GIF. A Gith Yankee Kethrick. And if you notice, you look at the artwork, it's the other 3 are faded out. He is standing right here. He's in full image. Got a gray render. A howler. You know. A young Krusk. An adult Krusk. A Oblix spawn. A orc battering ram. Ooh. Or org, not orc ram. Battering ram. I saw I mispronounced that. Org bolt launcher. Total letdown that they didn't have original artwork for that. Another org without artwork. It's an org chain brute. An org howda. You got a shulk. You got the agony, the hunger, the lost, the wretched, star spawn of Gru. By the way, these creatures right here are actually a sorrow spawn, and they live in the shadow realm, or the shadow plane, or the plane of shadows. And that's not a nice place to go. If your party is feeling particularly lost, the lost will show up. If your party is particularly hungry, the hungry shows up. If they're fighting and arguing, the anger shows up. Teaches your party to use control their emotions and their state. A star spawn Gru, which is terrible. There's no artwork. A star spawn Mangler, no artwork yet again. There's actually artwork for these in Mordenkainen's presents Monsters of the Multiverse of Madness. That is actually one of the very few good things about that book. I actually have a video on this channel where I page through it and talk about some of the differences in it. A female Strider. A male Strider. Okay. A Stone Cursed. Sword Wraith Warrior. A Turtle. Teenage Mutant Ninja Hermit Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Hermit Turtles. A Rot Troll. And that's the end of the regular size deck. On to the next deck. I'll set that over there. This is the extra large deck. Keep the bottom on. Take it off. You have an allip. The name is at the bottom. On these extra big cards, they have all the basic information down on the same side as you would have before on the little cards. But when it gets down to here, it cuts off and comes up to here with the rest of their actions, layer actions, spell casting rules, etc. And it's basically the same format across the bottom here, except you just have the challenge rating here and the experience, and then they moved what book and page it is over here. As I said before, every so often they will screw up and have the wrong page number on the card. And that's about it. A Belanoth. A Bubbling. A Bone Claw. A Cadaver Collector. Iron Cobra. Some of these cards are in landscape, some of them are not. A Oaken Bolter. A Stone Defender. A Corpse Flower. How delightful. a Deathlock Mastermind, a Deathlock White, an Allip. The allip is actually this weird fungus that's growing around the window. It's actually generating this opening into another world. A Bel Zeru, a Debrek, a Dai Boreg, a Mirzulth, cannot pronounce that name for anything, a Nebrezu, a Rotterkin, a Wajwith, mispronounce the crap out of that, a Black Abershai, a Blue Abershai, a Green Abershai, a Red Abershai, a White Abershai, a Eminizu, a Mirigon, a Narzugon. Oh no! Drow favored consort. Drow favored consort. No artwork. Oh no, another one of those. A Drow house captain. Oh no, a Drow inquisitor. No artwork. Ugh. A Drow Shadowblade. And there's a lot of these Drow cards that are not. A Druger Despot. A Druger Cleverich. And yet again, more Drugar with no artwork. A Drugar Mindmaster. A Drugar Soulblade. A Drugar Stoneguard. Eye roll. Drugar Warlord. Eidolon, which is actually stupid because they could have used this piece of artwork. Sacred Statue, which is a type of Eidolon. Or Eidolon. A Autumn Eladrin. A Spring Eladrin. A Summer Eladrin. A Winter Eladrin. A Githyanki Gish, which is this lady right here, if you remember from the other two are faded out, that's the Gish. The term Gish is actually a job class role in Githyanki society. It's actually a hybrid sorcerer warrior. Githyanki Supreme Commander. A Gith Zerai. A Gith Zerai Enlightened. A Krusk Hive Lord. A Measle. Terrible little things. Nagpa, there's only like 12 of those in existence. Unless you want to like create more. A Nightwalker, which is actually one of the easiest undead to dominate. A Retriever. A Frost Salamander. A Gloom Weaver. A Shadow Dancer. A Soulmonger. The Lonely. You're getting back into those Sorrowsworn again, or Sorrowspawn. Starspawn Husk. Hulk. Starspawn Larva Mage. Starspawn Seer. A Steel Predator. A Sword Wraith Commander. Another turtle, but this time it's Turtle Druid. A Dire Troll. It's rather dire, isn't it? A Spirit Troll. A Venom Troll. Vampire Mist. A Canoloth. You get a bunch of the Loths in here, which are neutral alignment evil demons or fiends. Not demons, fiends. Demons are chaotic evil. Devils are lawful evil. Loths are neutral evil. They just do evil and they don't care about it. Where chaotic evil is just doing random evil things or destructive actions that harm others for petty reasons. A Miraloth, which is actually the boatman, and a yagnoloth. These decks are actually quite useful for building encounters. You can have multiple of these cards out. You don't have to flip multiple pages, lose your page, or whatever. Artwork on the cards is awesome because you can show that off or use it as a rough description of the creature, so you can look at it yourself. The sad thing is that this deck is actually one of the heavier cases of no artwork. It's not the worst deck. The worst deck is actually probably the NPC creature. The creature and NPC deck. That one is actually probably the one that has the most no artwork, just words and a dumb symbol. Other than that, it's quite nice to have such a deck. These decks make your dungeon mastering time so much more efficient. This is rough. Even with the lack of artwork, it sits around that 3.75 star territory. If more of these cards had the artwork, it tips up to like 4 stars. That tends to be the standard territory for a lot of these decks. Some of them are the 4 stars, some of them are the 3.5 because it has a lot of those no art cards. More errors. Errors were more common in the earlier decks, but all errors are typically minor. It's just annoying if you are really obsessive about having all your pages and cards match up properly, where the later cards are a bit better. The sad thing is on these cards, as I said before at the beginning, there is no name of the artist. A lot of the earlier decks actually have the name of the artist on them. So there you go. You're going to have to go and get the book to actually get the name of the artist. These cards are extremely useful if you want to really have dynamic mixtures in your combats. These decks actually do help out quite handily in that department. So, thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this, please leave a like and consider subscribing. And I hope you have a super awesome, delightful day, a nice night, a wonderful week, and a magnificent month. And see you next time.